Hello everyone, thank you for being here. Today I'm here to talk about full stack development. And before I start, I would like to know how many of you do full stack development? Okay, not that much, but I hope after that it will be a bit less scary for you, so you will try it. So before I go into how you can do it, I would like to tell you a small story. A couple of years ago, I was, like many of you, I suppose, a Java developer, and I'm working as a consultant, so I was on a project with a team. And one day, the client went to come to see us and see, guys, I need you to build front-end. And in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm a Java developer, what can I use to build front-end? A couple of ideas came up. First was GSF, Vaadin, or TimeLeaf. If you know Spring Boot, that might ring a bell. I was like, okay, we can do that. But in reality, this client doesn't want me to use Java to build front-end. He heard about these new technologies called Angular, React, and he wants us to use those technologies to build front-end. And at the time, I didn't know anything about those. So I had a lot of questions here. And I started playing with it, wondering how can I do that? What's the challenge? And very quickly, I felt just like this Duke, jungling different tools. And some of them I was not really familiar with, so sometimes it felt like a chainsaw. And it was really not a comfortable position to be in. So today I want to give you tools so you don't feel like that. And you have a way to do it confidently without having to struggle with all those tools. Apparently my slides are cut short on the top, so we'll do without the title. My name is Loic Magnette. I'm a senior developer for a Belgian consultancy company called Onirix. I have a big dog and I love dogs, and I'm also one of the co-organizers of the Belgian Java user group. You have my social network just down there. And with that in mind, let's really dive into the subject. First of all, how many of you consider yourself as Spring developer or Spring Boot developer? Okay, part of it, 50%, something like that. So I was in that situation. And when you want to do full stack development with some JavaScript frameworks, the first solution that came in mind when you want to package your big monolith in one is probably this Maven plugin. And it's called short again, but it's the Maven front-end plugin that allows you to copy all your resource from your front-end project into your jar so you can execute everything with the front end. And it works great when you deploy in production. But as a developer, I don't spend that much time in production. I spend my time developing, so it doesn't really help me doing what I want to do. So my goal was, okay, how can I have an environment where I can start one thing and everything is there, I have auto reload, I have everything for me. One solution is to use scripting. You can write a bash script to start your application and your front end at the same time. And you might even go further than that using a tool like task file, where you write a task file and you can execute those tasks to run everything for you. And that might be a solution for you. But to me, it was still not good enough because I had to learn a new tool. I don't want to learn and tools to just do my job. So I look at what's on the market, what's available for me to do full stack development. And I played with this guy. How many of you know Quarkus? Not that many. Okay. So a simple way to know what is Quarkus is a bit like Spring Boot, but I would say better. But that's just my opinion. Why I would say it's better? Because the development experience in Quarkus is awesome, really awesome. And I will show you why I think it's awesome. Besides that, you have all the integration you might want to have when you develop Java application, just like you have in Spring Boot, and you have even AI integration nowadays. It works really great. And one of the key phrases you might hear when you listen about Quarkus is supersonic subatomic. What it means is Quarkus is really good at starting really fast when you are in production. And subatomic because if you look at the footprint of a Quarkus application, it's really small. And it's even before you try to do native image and things like that. So that's just out of the box with Quarkus. But as I say, I want to do full stack. And to do full stack, I need to have a solution for front-end development. And Quarkus has a lot to offer. They have what they call a rainbow of front-end solution. They have server-side solutions, like Qt, that's a template engine, just like Timely for Spring Boot. There is Renard, there's GSF, but I won't go into details on that, because that's not my point. I want to do front-end with JavaScript stuff. So on that side, there is two possibilities. There is Quinoa and Web Bundler. And I'm really sorry, because I'm going to start with Quinoa, and apparently every time I give this talk, it's just before lunch, and I need to show this, and everybody's angry after that, and I'm really sorry about that. But apparently, they really want you to go for food after the word. So let's talk about Quinoa. Quinoa is not just a name, it's an acronym. It means Quarkus UI no hassle. So the idea behind that is you have Quarkus and you can do UI stuff without bothering with all the tooling. So how does it work? Quinoa is an extension in Quarkus, and when you will build your application, what Quarkus will do is call the extension and say, please build the front end. And Quinoa will look in your package JSON, in your front end, Node front end, and run the npm run build for you. And when it's done, the Quinoa extension will copy all the resource generated by this build and put it in the right place in your jar file for you. So you don't have to figure out how to do that, it will do it for you. When you try to run it, what's going to happen, and this might have changed along the way, but it's still the one in the documentation, the user will ask for a resource or your web page. The Quinoa extension will say, yes, I have something, here we go. And if it doesn't have it, you try to call an API, Quinoa will just let it pass through, so you end up on your REST endpoint and get the answer. So it's really transparent for you, and it works very, very well. But I personally learn more by seeing code than seeing slides, so I will try to demonstrate that for you. So before I forget, if you have questions, there is a Slido, so do not hesitate. We'll look at that at the end. And we'll start by creating our own application. So I took some time off by already setting what I want. It's basically just like start.spring.io. It's code.quarkus.io. And I've already selected the extension I want. I have REST for having a REST endpoint. I have Quinoa because I need it for my front end. I have a gBBC driver for PostgreSQL. I have what they call Panache. It's basically Spring Data, but the way Quarkus is doing it. And they also have some open API, and I will show you why I selected this one. So I'm going to just generate a project, download the zip file. It's downloaded, so let's extract it. I will put it here, so it's next to my front-end project. And apparently I already have this name, so let's rename it to demo. Let's move it here, and I will open it in my IDE. So here, my sandbox, and I say demo. Okay, let's open it. New window. And I trust this project, of course. So We're just going to start by looking at the POM file. You will see exactly what I told you earlier. We have REST, we have Panache for ORM stuff, we have OpenAPI, we have REST and everything. So right now, it's just a simple application. And I will start it just to show you a bit why I say Quarkus has really incredible developer experience. So it's starting. It will take a second, apparently, because, yeah, it's loading some Node stuff for me. Because by default, when you install Quinoa, it will do the npm install for you. So you don't have to think about that. And I think a lot of Java developers don't like to look at npm install and do things like that. It's doing it for you behind the scene. And of course, because on the Wi-Fi and I'm demo, it will take some time. So I will just move on and we'll come back when it's done. So I have a project. And by default, what Quinoa is doing is giving you a folder where you can put your front-end stuff. So it's source main web UI. And that's where it says you can put your front-end. But in my case, I don't want to use that because I already my front-end project somewhere, and probably it's another Git repository, so I want to be able to use it from somewhere else. So to do that, it's quite easy. I'm just going to change a bit this one, and I think I have just a template for that. I will explain it to you. So I have this to say, okay, I'm going to install all the Node thing for me. I'm going to provide a server port where my application will run, because it's still running the Node application behind the scenes for you, but you don't see it. I'm saying it's a single page application, so you need to have the routing for that. I just say, okay, that's the path for my APIs. And that's the directory to my front-end application. It's an Angular application. It's already there. I will show you in a minute. And just like to check how the run is going. Apparently, it's good, so we can see. We should be able to see it here. Yeah, he moved it there. That's not a problem. So let's refresh this. And still loading, apparently. Yeah, that's when you try to do npm install during the presentation. Yeah, not a great idea. It will take some time, but we can continue on that. I should definitely don't do install on npm on live. It's not a great idea. One thing that you will see, because I changed this file. And if you look at it, I didn't restart, I didn't do anything. I just changed properties file. And if you look, because I've changed those things, Quarkus automatically picked it up and re-updated my application without me restarting anything. That's already something great for a developer, because every Spring developers know that every time they change code, either they have the extension for developer and they need to build the application so it's reloading properly, or they need to restart. Here you don't need to do that. So now, is it up? Let's try it again. And of course, it was able to start my application because live demo, of course. Let's move on. What I can do is give me some first version of the application, but that's not really what I am looking for. And I'm still looking for, yeah, okay, there is some issue in my front end. That's the reason. But we'll go through that. First, I want to have an API because I want to have an application where I can log every animal I've seen during my safari. So I want to say I saw a lion, I saw a hyena, I saw something. So I will create all the entities and the endpoint to do that. So first, let's create a class. And it's going to be an animal. And because I'm using Panache, I can already say, okay, it extends Panache entity. So basically, that's a bit like your Spring repository, but in another way. I will say it's an entity, of course. And we need to figure out a few things on that. So probably the animal needs a name or a type. That would be better, I think. No, I don't want a name, thank you. Let's see if I can figure out what's the sex of the animal. Is it... And I declare all those things public because it's intended. It's not just to show, oh, I don't care about getters and others. That's the way you do it with Panache. when you define an entity, because what's the point to writing getter or setter is just to set those fields. Except if you have specific rules. I can get behind that if you have collection or things like that, but for simple fields, that's easy enough. I've already my front end, so I will look at what fields are expected. Where is it? Of course, I cannot find it. Let's go for it. And it's not readable for you, so let's say, let's put it light mode and presentation mode on. No, not this one. Presentation. And the presentation. So that's better for you already. So I know I have sex, I have date time, in group, and injured. So that's basically what I want here. So and apparently I'm already forgetting everything. Date time. I said injured. It's a Boolean. And in a group. And how did I call that? In group. Okay, that's easy enough. In group. Here we go. I need to create, of course, this enum. So here we go. Let's say male, female, and unknown, because you're not supposed. I don't think. Does anybody knows how to identify a male or a female giraffe without looking at its junk? No. Okay. So basically, that's why I say unknown, because you're not every time sure of that. So I have everything there. I just need to define my resource. So I will use an interface. So it's going to be an animal resource. And I can extend simply, and that's not what I want, panache entity resource, and provide it's an animal, and the ID is a long. So like this, it should be good. And apparently my front end is still not working. So let's go fix that at the same time. And that's not my front end. It's here somewhere. Yeah. So, but good thing to know is if you look at what's in my console here, it's talking me about front end issues for me. So it's already picking up my front end and trying to transpile it and run it. So I don't have to look at two different places to figure out errors. They're already there. So if I remember correctly, I did some change here. That's a number. That's a number. It's good. And I think it's in the list that might have an issue, but or maybe it took the one. No, it's okay. That's strange. Every time I did this demo, for some reason, something breaks that I never had before. So that's always fun. Number, where is it? It's not. Yeah, I want to know the end of the sentence, please. Let's cut. Assignable parameter to type number. Okay, so probably something here. Remove. Yeah, that's probably this, because it can be null. And this will not be happy because it can also be null. So normally it should fix everything. Let's hope for that. Can I reload this? It's still failing for what this time? It's not listening. Yeah. Okay. Let's restart this. Normally you should not do that, but apparently this morning it doesn't want to work. And this time you should not download everything from the internet, because I've already downloaded. So let's wait for a second. And for some reason, I don't know why it doesn't want me to start. Come on, you can do it. So, still doesn't want to do it. Fun. That's why you have backup. Yeah. We'll stop this, and I have a backup, so I will open that so you can see it. Oh, that's not the right project I was starting, so it doesn't help. This one. No, that's still not the right one. I'm lost. That was this one, so yeah. Let's open the backup one. Where is it? Yeah, this one. Okay, I moved it apparently. We can open it. Here we go. I said it was quinoa, and I have a backup, so open this one. Yes, this window. I trust the project. Let's go. And we're going to start it, and it should be good. So the thing I wanted to show you is I can edit front-end and back-end stuff, and it's still live reloading. And I think it's a great thing, and I experimented with it. I have worked with colleagues that only do front-end. And they were like, yeah, but I don't want to use your Java stuff. I was like, wait a minute. It's going to be easy for you. You're just going to install Java, then clone the repository, and just then you need to start this main class, and that's it. And you will be able to develop like your front-end just like you used to do. I was like, are you sure about that? Yes, I'm sure. I did it, and then realized, oh, it's working. And 2 weeks after that, I went to him and say, did you notice anything that was bothering compared to your previous experience just using Node and everything? He said, no, it was great. And I didn't have to worry about my backend. My backend was there. Because that's a big issue when you do front-end development. You have to develop your front-end, but from time to time, you need to wait for this backend to be deployed so you have the latest API and everything. That's not great. It introduces delay when you work. When everything's running with the latest version from the repository, you don't have to wait. Everything is there. You can edit, and you can see live your API there. So normally it started this time. Let's hope. Seriously? I assure you, I run this morning, not later than this morning, and apparently, yeah, for some reason it doesn't want me to. What's happening here? It's not this one, that's this one. Watch mode enable, so yeah, I'm still complaining about something in my front end. I'm really sorry about that, because it's supposed to be a backup. Oh, it's working here, okay. So that's my application. And I can now try to add, let's say, a line, and that's not the right application, by the way. Yeah, that's not the right one. Okay, I'm really sorry about that. I don't get why my backup is not working, but I will deal with it. Another thing that's interesting about Quinoa, if you have, that's the reason I had put this OpenAPI extension, is if you have OpenAPI and you generate all your API, you can configure it to generate the YAML and the XML for the OpenAPI. And you can automatically generate the services for your front-end, so your front-end developer doesn't have to worry about what's new in this front-end, this back-end service. It's already there. And to do that, you need to use an extension. And I need to be honest with you. The first time I heard about this tool in Node, I was, are you sure? Because it's called Orval. And that's the logo. But when I'm a Belgian guy, so when I hear Orval, I think about that. I think about beer. So I was really, what's happening here? But this tool basically takes your OpenAPI specification and generates for you the service depending on your framework, for Angular or for React or for anything, automatically for you. So your API to interact with your backend is always up to date. It's worked really great. So because my demo doesn't want to go, let's move on. But I'm pretty sure that some people feel like that at some point with NPM. Just take it and throw it away. I don't want to see it anymore. And to be honest, it happened to me too. So Quarkus is a solution for that. If you don't want to see NPM anymore. This solution is called the Web Bundler. And the Web Bundler basically takes your application. Your application is your dependency, your POM XML or your Gradle version, your application, your Java application, your code, and some resources. And to do that, what does the Web Bundler do? It allows you to add something in the dependency. And that's partly is not that new. We can add web jars or MVMPM. So what are the web jar? Does anybody knows what is a web jar? Yeah, one person, two, nice. That's really nothing new. The idea behind a web jar is to take a front-end dependency and put it in a jar. But not exactly a cookie jar, more a Java jar. It would be nice to have cookie with it, but it doesn't come with it. And what it allows you to do, having that, is you can manage all your client-side dependency in a JVM-based environment. So you can put your front-end dependency in your POM.xml or your Gradle file, and it's working. It means you don't have to manage any node build tools. You can just use Java. Great. It resolves transitive dependency for you, so no worry about that. And it's deployed on Maven Central. So everything you know as a Java developer, basically. There is MVNPM, and the difference with MVNPM, it's basically web jars, but better. Instead of, if you take the web jars, you need to say, OK, I need to fetch this new dependency. Or I need to look up the node dependency to figure out where it is and which version is there. The MVNPM, you don't need to do that. It's a facade on top of the npm registry. So you have all the time the latest version of your dependency. One other thing, it only takes stable dependency, because I don't think anybody wants to have the latest experimental version of this React dependency, especially in production. So MVNPM just filtered that for you. As I said, it proxies through NPM. It means you have always the latest version of those NPM dependency available to you. It will also filter what's inside those web jar. Because in the web jar, if you look at what's inside, there is the source code, there is the transpiled code, the map files, and everything. And when you're running your application, you probably don't need the source file. I don't think you really need it, except if you want to debug, but you don't really need those. So removing those makes your application a bit lighter, and we won't complain about lighter application. And the last thing it does, it's cleaning the name. Because if you look at node dependency, the naming is not really Java-like. And what MVNPM tries to do is to have a more Java-like naming for those dependencies. So it really feels like Java to you. So you have those dependencies. Your Java backend won't change. It's still Java, good old Java, and it's awesome. And in your resource, you will have some little differences. You will have a directory called web, and inside that there is a web app, and inside that you can put everything from your JavaScript application. Your JS, your CSS, your JSX, your TSX, whatever is there, you can put it all there. And the other thing is there is in the web an index.html file. And this file is a bit different, and we will see in a minute what it means a bit different. So you have everything there, and the goal is to have an application. So what the web bundler do, it uses the ES-build. So the front-end developers know ES-build is there to build JavaScript stuff. And the web bundler is going to take every JavaScript, TypeScript, CSS, and files, will call the ES-build to do the tree shaking, the minification, generate the source maps. It will do everything for you. There is one caveat with that, is because we're using ES-build to do that, not all the JavaScript frameworks are supported. For instance, Angular doesn't work with that, because Angular doesn't support native ES-build. It has something on top of that. So for React, it works great, but for Angular, you cannot use that. Just have that in mind. When the ES-build run, you will have your APIs, your static bundle, so all your JavaScript application, available in your jar. So we're going to go back to the demo, and this time I'm hoping everything goes well. So I have this application, so I already generated for you, so we don't have to look at code.quarkus.io a second time. I'm going to show you the POM file. So it's basically the same as the last one, except instead of the quinoa extension, I'm using, and and I cannot find it, but it's there. The web bundler, just right here. And I have something different now because I have React, and I have React DOM. So how can you find those dependencies? It's easy enough if you go on nvm-npm, that's just the site, and you can look any dependency. So if I type React, for instance, it will provide me automatically the Maven dependency to put it. There is also for Gradle, I think. Sorry for that. But you can find any front-end dependency there. So I have here my front-end application. It's a React app. And I told you there is something special in the index.html file. So if I open it, does anybody see something that is not familiar with an HTML file? Yes? Yeah, you're right. If you look just right here, there is this little thing called bundle. And what it is when Quarkus builds your application, it will replace this tag with all your dependencies. So your JavaScript dependency, your CSS dependency, and things like that. But right here, I just have one bundle. You can split the bundle to have in one all the JavaScript and one to all the CSS. You can even split your JavaScript in different bundles if you want to have more fine-grained dependency. So just this little thing does a lot of work for you. So that's where I'm starting to pray, because based on my last demo, it wasn't that great. So it's not looking that good, but let's try it. Yeah, it's working. Nice. So you see, right now, it's just an application. There is some data, but it clearly says error loading data. For one good reason, I just voluntarily put the wrong URL. So you can see live reload this time. Because this application starts, I want to show you the dev UI from Quarkus. That's really an awesome stuff as a developer. It's out of the box in your Quarkus application when you start it. And you can see all the extension you have on your application. You can also see, for instance, all your endpoints. And right now I have none, but that's OK. I can see all the configuration file. And you might say, yeah, OK, but I can look at my application properties. But if you have profiles or things like that, sometimes it can be hard to figure out what properties did I set? What's the value? Here I can clearly see everything. I can even search for anything. So if I look for, I don't know, GDBC, I see all the properties available for me. So that's really nice. And I recently discovered you can even see all your code. And that's really nice. So I would tend to say you should look at it. And you can even see down there the console and everything. One thing I didn't mention, when you start everything, you didn't see me start a Postgres application database. And I did not start any. But if I go right now in my Docker or my Podman, I can see I have an image, a container running for Postgres. Because when you say, I'm taking PostgreSQL in my dependency, Quarkus will automatically, when start a container for you. You have a test container for a lot of things. Postgres, if you're using Camel, it will start something. If you're using a lot of things, it will start it for you. It's really a nice tool when you develop, because you don't have to think about all those stuff. So I was saying I'm not OK there, because something is missing. So let's look at my application. And already, I don't have any endpoint. So good thing is I already have written those things right here. So I will just do a good old copy paste. So here we go. I'm just going to put it here. And it's just the same thing as you've seen earlier. So just the endpoint here, the entity here, and that's it. And if I'm right, you can already see those endpoints appearing. And I just need to find the endpoints. So it appears now. I didn't restart. Everything is there. I can see it. And apparently, I was nice enough for myself that I've already put everything so it can work. So normally, in this time, I should be able to add a lion. For lions, it's quite easy to see if it's male or female, let's be honest. And I can add it, and everything is working. And I want to show you this because that way you know that I'm just not faking anything. It's going just here. This is a request, so it's recalling my backend. I have a database, and everything is there. I can even delete it, and it's going, and you see there is a delete here. So everything there is automatic. I could say, let's, just for the show, let's say I have my animal list right here, and I have the name of the animal. So just to show you it's live, here. What I had it is already reloaded. So you just have the exact same experience as a front-end developer doing this. So that's really great, in my opinion. You don't have to worry about NPM. Everything is reloading, and you have the exact same experience as a backend developer and front-end developer, just with one thing. So I show you a lot of things, and I'm sorry for the first demo. But what you need to remember when you're using Quarkus is it's really easy for developer experience. Your developer experience is among the best I ever experienced with different languages and frameworks. You have integration with a lot of things. I show you here just database and front-end, but you can basically integrate with anything. It's production ready, and I will show you why I say that, because you can build a jar, but you can even build a native image with your front-end. And it's supposed a large panel of framework for the front-end. If you use Quinoa, basically any Node framework works with it. If you're using Web Bundler, you need to be a bit more careful because you're using ESBuild, so you need to have this support in your Node application. And to show you this production-ready level, I've chosen to earlier, I'm going to stop this application. This one. I have my backup just here, and earlier I've built a GraalVM native image. Does anybody doesn't know what's GraalVM? Okay, a couple of hands, so I will explain. So as Java developer, we are used to build application and to have a jar that you can run everywhere. With GraalVM, GraalVM does that, but can also provide you a solution to build native image. What is a native image? It's basically a binary that you can execute on your machine. And the binary has a big advantage because it's local to your machine. You don't need to start any GVM. It's just binary. So it's really, really fast. And the footprint is smaller than when you run a GVM, for instance. So I'm just going to start the database this time. So I have this database just right here. I'm just going to start a Docker image. So it started. And I have just right here, this line in red is my native image. So it's native to my Mac in this case. You can build native for Windows or for Linux, but it's specific to the OS where you build because it's a binary. So let's start it. I'm just going to go this, start it. And I think it's going to not be that readable, I think, but look at the startup time. And that's not the best I ever got. So with that kind of application. I know it's small, but it doesn't start in seconds when you use GraalVM. You're in milliseconds or less. So if you want something really light and really quick to start, GraalVM is a great tool for that. So I've started this, so I should be able to go here, refresh, and you see, there is my application, it's there. I don't have any other things running, and it's totally fine. I can add this time a zebra, for instance, and it's calling. Everything is working. That's why I say it's production ready. You can build Docker image with that. You can use native image. So you have all the spectrum of production ready that you should have with Java, with the solution that incorporated all those front-end stuff. So With that, there is the slides right here, so you can scan the QR, and I normally have enough time for questions because this demo failed, so we have time for questions. So we'll just switch to Slido so I can see if there's any. With Panache Entity, can you use record instead of classes? No. Panache Entity is still using classes. You need to see Panache just like Spring Data. By default, Spring Data doesn't support record. You need to use Spring Data GDBC to be able to use records. So no, you cannot use them. Can I have multiple front-end with a single backend? I presume you want to do micro front-end or something like that. No, not out of the box. What you could do with, for instance, Web Bundler is create micro full stack application. So I have multiple little applications that provide a front end and a back end. So you cannot provide any other thing like that. Does Quinoa work with other package manager than NPM? Maybe Yarn? Basically, yes, Quinoa will work with other package manager because what's it's doing is looking at what's in your package JSON, and if you have defined in the build that you're using Yarn, it will probably work. I didn't try it, but I don't see any reason it would not work. And what about build tools like Webpack and Vite? It's working with Vite because I didn't show you, but the React app I just created using Vite, because you can create any application using Vite, and I can start it with Quinoa. So I can definitely do that, and it's working. So you should try it. What is the trade-off for using Quinoa? Compared to Web Bundler, the only trade-off is you still have to manage your package JSON, your NPM dependency like you used to do. So you still have NPM in the way. But if you have any application that's full stack with NPM front end and you have a Quarkus backend, just go for Quinoa. It's really easy to use, and there is no downside to using Quinoa when you're doing something like that. The Quarkus DevTools shows info about endpoint usage, how many requests has been processed. Not out of the box, I think, but there is extension that you can provide to see all those metrics if you want them. I know there is an extension and a flag that show you can have all the telemetry stuff available for you. So it's definitely there if you want it. And I think I answered every question. I still have something for you. I have stickers just right here. So if you want some, come. And we can still chat afterward. Thank you again for your attention. And maybe see you in the hallways.